So these 2 pages are just going to review some of our basic linear kind of stuff that we've been doing. Now, evaluate could be for any function, whether it's linear, quadratic, or exponential. But this is just shorthand for, see how the f of x is here, and it's got an x inside the parentheses. See how the 2 is there? They're saying plug a 2 in for x. So this is a plug and chug. Or if you don't like plug and chug, you can just go look at the table. Because this is saying when x is what number? 2. We're plugging a 2 in for the x. So when x is 2, what is the y number that goes with that? Okay. Now, we can either put the whole equation in using negative 3x squared plus 2 on the in the Inspire calculator on the graphing icon screen, right? So you typed in the whole equation just as it is, and then go to the table, which is Control T. Press the Control after you graph it and hit Enter, and you got the graph. You press Control and then the T button, and that will bring up the table, and you can just scroll down the table and look for when x is 2, what's the y number. The other way you can do it is plug and chug. Just do the math on the math screen, okay, the math icon, and it's negative 3, where the x's are, you put parentheses, squaring is outside of the x plus the 2. And then what number are we plugging in for x? We're plugging in a 2. So 2 goes there, and you just put this all in one step in the calculator and let it do all the math for you. If you're doing PEMDAS individually, you would do the parentheses first, and 2 squared is 4, and then 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, and negative 12 plus 2 is negative 10. So there is the answer right there, B. So again, you can just type it in the calculator, do all the work, or you can look at the table. Same thing on this one, evaluate f of negative 4. So if you have not already done it, go do this, and you might want to do a bunch of these problems, and then pause the video and come back and then check all the answers. Because most of these you should remember how to do. But if there's a couple that you don't remember, then watch the video and remember how to do them, okay? So again, plug and chug or table. So whether you like the table version, this is saying when x is negative 4, see the f of x, and there's parentheses, that's the x inside. Here's the f with the parentheses, and inside is negative 4, so we're plugging a negative 4 in for x. So that's saying when x is negative 4, what is the y number? Or you can do plug and chug, just doing the math on the right-hand side, and that is a positive 2 parentheses x plus 3, and that is a plus sign there. I know it's kind of faded. And then what number are we plugging in? Negative 4. So you can type all this in the add subtract screen and hit enter, or you can put the whole equation in under the graph icon and go graph it and then hit Control T and look at the table. So if you did this math and you multiply, that's negative 8 plus 3 gives you negative 5, so D is the answer. All right, slope, parallel. If you have parallel lines, like railroad tracks, they have the same slope. If this one has a slope of 3/4, that one has a slope of 3/4. So as soon as they say my lines are parallel, I'm writing the word same to remind myself this, the same slope. So I want to find the slope of a line parallel to this one, which means it will be the same slope as this. But this equation is not in y equals format, and the only way you can solve these is by hand. You cannot do these in the graphing calculator. So we want to get y by itself, so let's get rid of the x first. Right now it's a positive 1x, so let's subtract 1x. If I do it to one side, do it to the other side. The x's cancel out over here. I bring down the negative 2y. Don't forget the minus sign in front of it. And then rewrite this side. X and 1 are not like terms, so write the x term first, and then the positive 1 comes after it. The constant goes on the end. Y is what I want to get by itself, so this is multiplication. How do you undo multiplying? You divide by the exact same number, so divide by negative 2. If I do it to one side, I'm going to do it to both pieces over here. The negative 2's are gone. Y is equal to. Put these fractions in the calculator, negative 1 over negative 2, and that's going to tell you in the calculator it's 1/2, positive 1/2 x. Don't put the x in, just put the fraction in on the add subtract screen. And then put this fraction in, positive 1 over negative 2, and hit enter, and it will tell you it is a negative 1/2. So my y-intercept is negative 1/2, but my slope is positive 1/2. And since it's this parallel line, it will be the same. So positive 1/2, that means it is A. All right. Now this one is perpendicular. So find the slope of a line perpendicular to this one. Now remember my perpendicular lines. Perpendicular means they intersect at 90 degrees. If one line has a positive slope, the other one has a negative slope. In addition to that, if this one has a slope of negative 2/3 because it's going down, this one is going to have a slope of positive 3/2. So it's opposite signs, and you flip the fractions upside down. Okay, so if you know one, you know the other one. Since this is perpendicular, I'm going to make myself a little note. It's opposite and flip. Okay, it's not the same, it's opposite and flip. So if you look at this, you may say, oh man, I got to solve for y. And you could subtract 5 on both sides and then simplify this by distributing and then combining like terms. So it's then in y equals mx plus b form. Or if you look at your reference sheet, and I highly recommend you look at your reference sheet, this is one of the forms that they give us on the reference sheet, and this is m. And m represents slope, so you can see the slope in this point slope version. So my slope is 3. Do I keep that slope? No, I want perpendicular, which means I want the opposite sign and flipped. So right now 3 is 3 over 1. It's positive, so my perpendicular slope is going to be negative, and it's going to be 1 over 3. So negative 1/3 is the slope of my perpendicular line, so C. Hopefully a lot of this stuff is starting to come back to you as we talk about them. Find the slope of a line. If they give you a pretty graph, all you're going to do is look for some pretty points. Where is it crossing? In the corners of the grids, right? Not crossing in the corner, not crossing in the corner, not crossing in the corner, but that's in the corner. So from one point to the next point, how many vertical spaces did you go and how many horizontal spaces did you go? So it's a vertical one, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces this way. Now, is it run over rise or rise over run? You're right, it's rise over run, so 1 over 4. And this line is going down, so we know it's going to be a negative slope. So get rid of all the positive answers, it's not the positive answers. And it was 1 over 4, so it's negative 1/4. There we go. Find the slope of this line. Now, this is a horizontal line. So as soon as you see horizontal, you should be thinking it's either hoi or vux. H represents horizontal, on the right horizontal up here. Looks like the horizon. That's the horizon in the distance, right, where the land meets the sky. So horizontal is that flat line. The slope is 0, and the equation of all horizontal lines starts with y equals a number. Vertical lines, on the other hand, just to have a little review here, vertical, that's not very pretty written. Pretend that's a V-E-R. That's really bad, vertical. So vertical lines go straight up and down. If it's vertical, you write the word vux. U is the slope, meaning it starts with U, so it's undefined. So that has a slope that's called undefined. And the equations of vertical line starts with x equals a number. This is a horizontal line, so it is hoi, which means the slope is 0. So what is the slope of this line? It is 0. You could also sing the song 0, positive, undefined, negative to 10 little Indians. We did a little arm signal with that. But the hoi and vux is really easy to do. Find the slope of a line that goes through the 2 points. If you look at your reference sheet, there's a little formula on there that says M. It says slope of a line, and it says M equals y minus y all over x minus x. So when you're doing this on your paper, if you have 2 points or a table with 2 points, you just do this y minus y. So always where the variables are, make parentheses and x minus x. Do that first and then drop the numbers inside. That way if they're negative numbers, you will keep the negative numbers separate. So the x numbers are always first, the y numbers are always second in ordered pair. So that's an x and that's a y. So I'm just going to do them in the exact same order that they're up here. The negative 3 is the y and the negative 4 is the y. So remember, y's go on top. And then on bottom, in that same order, 4 and then negative 2. That way you don't lose track of the signs with those minuses in there. So just put control divide in the add subtract screen. Put the parentheses, negative 3, close it, subtract, parentheses, negative 4, close it. On bottom, parentheses 4, close the parentheses, subtract, parentheses, negative 2, close it. Hit enter, and it will tell you what the slope is. And the slope on this one, I do believe, was 1/6. I'm pretty sure. Let me go check my answer on that one real quick. Yes, it was 1/6, okay? So there's that one. Now let's go do this one. Same thing, find the slope of a line that goes through 2 points. So same slope formula, y minus y over x minus x. So set up your parentheses, y minus y all over x minus x. Then I'm going to drop the numbers in. 2 and 4 are my y numbers. Negative 4 and negative 4 are my x numbers. So negative 4 and negative 4. So again, put this whole thing in the add subtract screen as one big fraction. Control divide, everything on top, everything on bottom. Hit enter. And it's going to tell you undefined. This, if you were to go graph those 2 points, make a vertical line. So undefined is the slope. There we go. Okay, so that's it for, was that the second page or the first page? Okay, so second page on this. This time we are looking for, writing some equations. Look at these. The equations are on Michael's format. That means these are the slope numbers in front of the x's, and these are the y-intercepts on the end. And they even say, write the equation of a line that has a y-intercept of negative 4 and a slope of 1. They gave you the slope second, but slope is the number in front of the x. So slope is a 1, not a, not negative 1, positive 1, not negative 4. And is my y-intercept negative 4? It is, so C is the answer. Y equals format, you gotta like that. Slopes are here in front of the x's, the y-intercepts are on the end. The y-intercept is negative 3, and the slope is negative 4. So look for the negative 4, and this is the only one that had it. And of course, the y-intercept was also negative 3, and there it is. So when you're doing these double pieces, just pick out one thing and go get rid of any answer that doesn't match it, and then come back and look for the second piece and just double check that it matches. Okay, it's been a while since we've done these, but y varies directly with respect to x. Did you just all of a sudden hear in your head, ding, 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 and see butterflies flying around? I hope you did, because as soon as you see the words varies directly, it is a butterfly problem. That means it's a fraction equals a fraction. You've got 4 numbers that go here. They're going to give you 3 of them, and you're going to solve for the 4th one. So the first 2 numbers make your first fraction. X is -3 and y is -264. It does not matter which one you put on top and bottom, just pick one. You could put the -264 on top if you want to. I'm going to do the -33. So I put the -264 on bottom. Do make a note of which is which. I put x on top and I put y's on bottom. So over here I have to do the same thing. So the third number they give me is the y number, and y's are going to go on bottom. That's 88. And the question is, what is x? So this is the one I don't know. Now, once it's set up, you cross multiply. That's why the butterflies. Here's a butterfly wing. Here's a butterfly wing. Now, the math is you multiply these 2 things together, and you multiply those 2 things together, and they're equal. So if I multiply -33 times 88, I'm going to put parentheses around them. Okay, that's multiplication, equals these 2 multiplied together. -264 times x. You can just smush them together, it means the multiplication. Now we're solving for x. So how do you undo multiplication? You divide by -264. If I do it to one side, I do it to this side. The -264's cancel out, and you're left with x equals. All you got to do is just put this math in the calculator. Multiply these 2, divide by that. A lot of people will learn the shortcut that the 2 numbers that are looped together, you multiply them together, and the one that's with the x is the one you divide by. But this is the actual math behind it. So when you put that in the calculator and do it, x is actually 11. So if you have not paused the video at this point, go pause the video and finish this worksheet, and then come back and check your answers and see how you're doing. Next question, the distance one travels varies directly. As soon as you see those words, did you go ding, 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 butterflies, and say it's a fraction equals a fraction? They're going to give you 3 numbers, one's going to be missing. So the first 2 numbers make my first fraction. 11 hours to drive 77 miles. So 11 hours, 77 miles. Does not matter which one you put on top, 11 or the 77. But this was hours and this was miles. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to put hours on top and miles on bottom. It has to match your first fraction. They said in 4 hours, so hours is on top, and they want to know how far he can go. So this is what I don't know is the miles. Again, cross multiply. Butterflies. That times that is equal to this times this. So 4 times 77, put parentheses around them you can, so that's multiplication, equals 11 times x. So these 2 multiplied together equal 11 times the x. The goal is to get x by itself. We want to find x, so divide to get rid of the 11. If I do it to one side, I do it to the other side. So now x is equal to whatever this math is. Just go put it in the calculator, do the math, and it should equal 28. So 28 miles is how far I go. All right, this is asking for the range. And there's nothing else in here about chopping anything off after yesterday's assignment. I always kind of double check that. We're just looking for range, which is the y numbers. All the y, not the y-intercept, all of the y numbers being used in the graph. This whole picture, what are the y numbers being used? Am I using any y numbers up here? No. Am I using any y numbers below 0? No. All these points are using points over here. There's billions of them, too many to list. But they end at 90 and they start at 0. So literally my y's are between these 2 numbers. So they did it in words. So look for 90 and 0. You should have both numbers, not just one number. They're not all real numbers less than or equal to 90, because that means it keeps going forever. All real numbers less than or equal to 6? No, that would have been here and just gone down. 0 and 90. See the 0 and 90? That looks promising. All real numbers greater than or equal to 0. Yep, bigger than 0. And less than or equal to 90. Less than, yep, that way. So these are saying they're all between there. This one just says 0 and 6. 6 is not my upper limit, okay? So make sure you read carefully. If it's y's, stay on the y-axis. Don't use this x number. If it's asking for domain, then you use 0 to 6. All right, so what is the domain? So here we go with x numbers. Same concept, and that's all it is just look for domain. They didn't give me any stipulations. So x numbers, these numbers here, where did it start? Where did it end? That picture never goes to the left, never goes to the right. I want all these x numbers between those 2. So -4 and 2. -4, 2, check. Not -4 and 2. Not -4 and 2. We got rid of 2 answers. This is an open circle with the -4, so there's no line underneath that one. So which one is it? C. And this one should have a line under it, and yes, there's the line under that one. Okay, So that is it. That's just a little easy review on that stuff. The next video is going to be about your last page, which is the exponential stuff. Again, watch that last video, at least the beginning of it, because I tell you which problems to do. You do not have to do the whole page. Bye, guys.